Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the TrackMania Grand League Winter 2020 season. We have 16 contenders from 14 different organizations ready to battle it out over 6 weeks here on these challenging tracks. Let me first talk a bit about how the league works, what this competition is, and what we are battling for. So the TrackMania Grand League will be composed of 6 matches or steps, with one step taking place every Sunday at 20 CET. Each step allows players to gain points, which will total up over the course of the championship. And after all steps are completed, the 8 players with the most points will advance to the playoffs, which take place on the 28th of February. A step consists of 6 races on 6 different tracks. Players have to drive 6 laps on each track. So for example, the one we have going in the background here, you have to drive 6 laps, and the top players get the most points through that. The game mode we're playing is the Champions mode. What that means is that on the first 3 maps of the step, you can collect as many points as you're able to, and then in the last 3 maps, you have to defend your points. That means if you are in the top 8, you will keep your points, but if you're in the bottom 8, you will lose all of your points and have to start over from 0. And at the end of the entire step, the players with the most points are the winners of that step. That means though that making any mistakes now in the last couple of tracks can be very unforgiving, so consistency pays off here, endurance, and of course there's a lot of skill involved in this competition. Other ways you can gain extra points is by setting the fastest lap time in the match. You will be rewarded with 2 points. And also, if you win the maps, if you get the best time across the entire track, the full 6 laps, you will win 100 euros. So we might see some players pushing a bit extra if they're at the top to secure themselves 100 euros. The total prize pool in the entire TrackMania Grand League is 13,000 euros, 13,600. There will be 3,600 euros distributed in the normal steps. That means 36 map wins for a total of 3,600, and also there will be 10,000 that the top 8 players are going to compete for in the playoffs. Yeah, I think we should just get into spectating here so you can see how this format works. As you can see here, we're in spectator now, and players will have to drive laps around the tracks, like you can see Carl Jr. here from Canada doing. I think we should quickly also mention who the players are and what their achievements are. So if we look at the list now, we can see Carl Jr. here. He is the 3-time world champion, 5-time Serato Cup champion, certainly a familiar name in the TrackMania circles, and one of the contenders for taking the title. Next up, we have Kappa. Kappa is actually the beta season winner. He won the first season of the TrackMania Grand League, the test season that was last year. He's also the 2018 world champion of the Grand League. Then we have Pappu here. Pappu is a French player. He is known for getting 2nd place in the beta season, the test season that was last year. Then we have Pack here from the United Kingdom. He is the 2016 world champion. He's now playing for M&M Gaming, Molotovs and Marshmallows from the UK. He has won Gamers Assembly in 2018 and 2019, got a 2nd place at the Serato Cup 2019, and 3rd place in the beta season last year. Then we have Matt here, the Brazilian player. He got into the finals of the Serato Cup last year, and then also won the RPG Spain Cup in 2018. Now playing for the North American organization Space Station Gaming. Then we have Spam here from the Netherlands. 2012 world champion, oldest player in the league right now at 25 years old, and also a famous Trackmania Twitch streamer, now playing for the Fuse Kids Gaming. We also have Coco from France here, known for getting first place in the Air France Cup that was hosted last year. Also got second place in the Trackmania Pro League Season 1. Now playing for Oserve Gaming, Oserve Esports. Then we have Roland here, one of the 2 players in this competition who doesn't have an organization. Still a name to be reckoned with here. Very consistent, very endurant player. Doesn't make that many mistakes and is able to perform well under pressure. Managed to reach the semi-finals of the Schrader Cup in 2019 together with Spam. The second organizationless player we have is Revolution here from Germany. He managed to reach the finals of the Schrader Cup with Matt and has won an endurance race in Trackmania 19 times, the Enduro Cup. Very good at this type of format where you have to drive laps, and certainly a name to be reckoned with. We are actually about to start here, but I figure we'll go through the remaining names on the list. So the names we haven't talked about yet are Bren. Bren is playing for Team Lunary, Schrader Cup winner in 2019 with Carl Jr. 4th place in the beta season. He managed to reach the finals. Then we have Massa here, German player as well, playing for Big Gaming, Gamers Assembly 2016 winner. Looking good. Next player is actually Marcin here. Marcin is actually not here because Marcin hasn't been able to connect to the race. Very unfortunate. But yeah, we are going live here actually, guys, on the first track. This is Touch and Down. And all of these tracks are built in a style that they are including almost all elements that we have in this game. So you have a lot of drifts, some dirt parts, some full speed parts with wall rides, like you can see here, and they are very challenging to drive. You really need to master all aspects of the game to perform well on these tracks. And we can see Massa here, who's in first right now, is doing exactly that. We still have a couple more names to talk about in this one, so I figured we'd go through them real quick. We have Tween here, who is currently in 7th place. He's playing for the Pittsburgh Knights, an American organization. He himself is from Slovakia. He has won the Giants Cup and got 2nd place in the World Championship in 2018. We also have Scrappy here, who is from Belgium, playing for Team Existence. He is known for getting into the Schrader Cup a lot as well. Haven't made it all the way to the top yet though, but maybe he is able to make something happen now in the Grand League. And then of course we have my teammate, my fellow friend Euler here, currently in 12th place. Seems to have made a mistake maybe, but nothing is decided yet. He is from Germany and has won the Gamers Assembly twice in 2015. And the last player I haven't talked about is Aurel here from France. He's playing for the organization Gaming Prive, and his best achievement is getting 2nd place in the Schrader Cup with Pack. So now that we've been through the players, let's go through this map. So we're into the 3rd lap here. Maybe you're getting familiar with it. There is a part coming up here, which is what we call the identity of the track. Sort of the one big obstacle on the track you have to pass, and on this one it really is a touchdown. You have to jump up here, hit this bar in the air and land in the loop, but Aurel here looks like he's gonna land upside down and has to respawn, and this is how detrimental the identity can be. If you fail it, you can see just how far behind the field he has become here, and players have to get through this obstacle a total of 6 times, and that's just how poorly it can go sometimes. Let's now have a look at Pack here, who's a bit behind the leading group. He's in 8th place and following closely here. So I maybe haven't mentioned, I'll mention it again. The way the point system here works is that on the first 3 tracks, you will simply gather points by getting the highest position you can. You get 20 points for getting first place, you get 1 point for getting 16th, and there are some different values in between there as well. On the first 3 maps though, because on the last 3 maps of this step, you can potentially lose all your points if you are in 9th place at the end of the map. So if you were in Brent's position right here in 9th place, you would lose all the points you had accumulated up until this point. And it really makes driving as fast as you can, or as consistently as you can rather, to stay in the top 8, to keep your points, that much more rewarding. So that won't be a danger yet, but it's certainly something to look out for. We see Roland here though, getting a bit of a nose slide as they go into the wall slide section, now up to the full speed. And we can see that both Riolu and Bravo actually have dropped quite far down here. We're looking at 4 seconds behind now for Riolu in 13th, but in the pre-match interview, Riolu told me that this map wasn't his strongest, so I wouldn't worry too much yet. I think he's just going to try to make it out alive of this one and come back in the next few tracks. You can see him there together with Matt though, who is also a bit behind here. I think he has figured out the strat of the touchdown, but let's see Riolu going for it now. Maybe he can get it cleanly this time. Again, RL I think is the only person who's had to respawn on the identity yet, and all players will make it here too. And as I say that, who fell down? Oh, it was Tween. Oh, Tween made a huge mistake there. Went from 4th or 5th place all the way down to 14th. And that's how rough it can be. Let's now have a look at the lead at the top players. We see Spam, Pappu, Carl, and Massa all battling it out here for the first positions. Again, guys, there is 1 more lap to go, and the first place here will get 100 euros into their pocket for winning the track. So they seem to be the main challengers here. Pack and Kappa are chasing, but they're a bit behind, so I think it's going to come down to one of these 4 players. And we see them go over the grass now, up the road, and coming up to the identity again. Could decide a lot here. It's big stakes for one identity to go wrong now. Spam is catching 3rd place, coming quite close to Carl, but I think a lot will be decided here. Oh, Pappu with a very nice identity. Catches up more to Spam. Spam actually catches more to Carl, and Massa though might have extended his lead. He's actually looking at a 1 second lead now into the last lap, and if he's able to keep this, that's gonna be payday for him, it seems like. So we can see Tween has fallen even further behind actually. Now Aurel isn't last anymore. Looks like Tween fell apart in the last 2 laps there. Unlucky for him. Before we get into the battlefield first, let me quickly have a look at how Riolu is doing now. He is battling it out with Bren here, very close to both Bren and Matt and Coco, and a lot could happen here in the final seconds. But the man who's been playing the best right now is Massa. He's been driving consistently, cleanly. He hasn't made a single mistake yet. He goes very far up the road there though, almost crashes, but he's doing fine. And if he gets this identity, he's gonna take the map win here and 20 points going into the second one. Will he be able to land the touchdown? This is looking good. He releases, but Massa landing upside down, and he's actually not going to make it, and it's going to be Carl, I think, who takes the map win and 100 euros. Spam in 2nd, Pappu in 3rd, Pack in 4th, Kappa in 5th, and Riolu has actually managed to climb his way all the way up to 7th. What happened to Massa? He's actually 12th place here. He went from 1st to 12th place in the blink of an eye there. 1 bad release, and that's all it takes. And Massa will not be too happy about that one. Very unfortunate for him, and you do not like to see it. So the final standings is Carl 1st, Spam 2nd, Pappu 3rd, Pack 4th, Kappa 5th, Scrappy 6th, Riolu 7th. Coco 8th, Matt 9th, Orglis Revolution 10th, Bren 11th, Massa 12th, RL 13th, and Roland 14th. But guys, let's now have a look at the map preview for the second track. Enjoy this one. It's going to be U-Turn, made by... yeah. Enjoy, guys. By Superroll and AO. Yes, indeed. This is U-Turn by Superroll and AO. The replay you saw there was driven by Matt, and we are going straight into it actually. There is no warm-up in the Grand League, and this is gonna be the first round, starting off right away. So let's now have a look at this track as soon as the 5-second warm-up to prevent disconnects is over. So this track, of course, infamous for its U-turn identity, where you basically have to turn around inside the checkpoint, jump down to the next checkpoint, turn around, and then go back to the multi-lap. But guys, we are live, so let's now have a look. We're looking at RL, and track starts off here with a drop down. You have to then get past this corner. It can be quite precise. Lining yourself up now for this upcoming dirt corner, where the goal is to go as high up as you can and barely jump into the downhill there. Looks like Matt got it really well, actually catches up some positions there. And now they go into the second dirt corner, in which you have to drive far up on the dirt hill. You have to then go down here over this road section here, try to stay as much on the road as you can, and then go up around the corner, down into the hill here. Couple with a small bounce actually. Boing, he says. And now we're coming up to the end. Let's have a look at Euler going into the wall ride. You have to then drop down into the quarter pipe, and now comes the U-turns. So let's see how players elect to do this. Euler and Pack go kind of clockwise. Are there any people who go the opposite? Looks like Scrappy and Kappa did, and Carl Jr. perhaps catching up a lot of spots actually. And it's a close first round, but Pack with the best opener lap now. Into the second one we go. So again, this corner now with the added speed gets even tougher. You have to do a small drift at the entry here to make it past, and Euler will be just fine through that. We can see Kappa though has dropped down. Tween as well has dropped down, and Carl Jr. actually in 13th place right now. Surprising to see. The match for first is between Bren, Pappu, Pack, and Euler. But it's much too early to say who's gonna take it just yet. So looks like all players quite made it right now. Matt though with a huge mistake. Oh, Euler with a small touch. Will he make this jump now? Looks like he's gonna be fine with the air brake, and he is indeed. So a small touch. I don't think I would worry too much. It's a long race, and he's still in the mix here. The important part not to fail is right here, where you want to make sure you land in the quarter pipe and not hit the edge. Looks like he's getting a good lineup here for the 180. Safe and sound. And gonna jump and basically just turn around instantly now with all his added speed. And he's good for lap 2. But what has happened to Matt though? 11 seconds behind. Looks like he's made a pretty bad mistake now. It's way behind the rest of the group. And further down we see Tween, Kappa, Massa, and Coco have all made a small mistake as well. Kind of grouped together here. And a bit middle of the field, we find Spam and Roland. And Carl now has made his way up to 7th again. He lost about 2 seconds earlier, it looked like. Now he's 1.5 behind, so looking pretty good for him as well. Like, he is slowly chasing his way up to the top again. And this is what Carl Jr. will always do. He finds those extra hundreds in each corner, and you can see him here just inching closer to all the players. He's on the hunt, and his next prey is now Scrappy, slightly ahead of him, and Ryulu just ahead of that again. And they are holding their own though against him here as they go into the wall ride in the 3rd lap. Carl Jr. going quite low, has to adjust his line a bit, and now into the 180s. You can see Scrappy and him go for the clockwise turnarounds here, and this is going to save a bit of time. You can see they're catching up, but it is very risky because you have very little space to line it up with. And Scrappy actually catches up to Ryulu now. They enter the lap dead even for 4th place, and the players who are doing the best right now is actually Pack and Revolution in a close battle. Both of these players have looked fantastic in the practice, and they are putting on their best right here. Super close race for 1st place. Again, 100 euros on the table now for whoever takes this. And I think both of them want it very much right here. Pack and Revo, different lines. They're coming out just equal on the exit. Revo, though, with the uphill line, should be able to have more speed. Gains a bit, but does he go too wide? No, he has it under control, and that's a fantastic line from Revo. Pack, with a huge crash, is going to get passed by almost everyone, it seems like. Drops down to 7th place. Doesn't make this 8th place. Oh no. And 10th place. That's how quick it can change, guys. You hit the wall once, you go from 1st to 10th. The competition in this race is insane. You really cannot afford to make a single mistake, but Revo so far hasn't, and it's paid off for him because he is now almost a second ahead of 2nd place. Euler, though, has managed to find his way up to 2nd place. Only a second to go behind Revo, and he is still in the mix here. I mean, we saw Pack fall down. Can Ryulu actually catch up to Revo here and get the map win? Or does he elect to try to save it now and maybe get some sweet points? Again, nobody is risking to lose their points on this map. It will only be on the 4th, 5th, and 6th map of this step. So Revo might just be a bit out of reach here. I think personally the strat here would be to make sure to not make any mistakes. I mean, there's a pretty big gap down to 6th place, and without any crashes he should be able to hold his own in the top 5 here. So Carl, though, has made his way up to 3rd now, and is chasing together with Pappu. They're chasing Ryulu, so can't save it too much here actually. It's coming closer, and oh, what a close jump that is. Does make it. Now he has his own line here, as we said, the clockwise instead of the counterclockwise, but the landing wasn't too good. Scrappy had a good landing and actually joins the mix now, all equal coming into the last lap. Holy, this is very close. It can be anyone's game. Let's go back to Euler here, who is now 5th, but he could easily be 2nd here with a great last lap. What a race we have on our hands. Revo, though, still a second ahead and looking for that 100 euros. But the battle for the points here is equally important, as the more points you have in total will get you closer to those playoffs. So all players here looking to get it. Carl with a bad landing. Ryulu is going to catch him here. And equalize looks like going for now 4th place. Pappu and Scrappy are dead on equal, just ahead of them. I mean, less than 0.3 of a second separate all these 4 players. And it looks like Scrappy has actually come a bit closer to Revo. Only 0.7 of a second now. Ryulu going very wide. Has to release. Will he make the downhill? Just makes it barely. And now the ending will decide it here, guys. We're coming up to the U-turns, and whoever gets this the best is gonna be able to get the most points. So let's see it. Here we go. Pappu going into it 2nd after Revo with the counterclockwise. Scrappy, though, looks like he's gonna get a great 180 together with Carl, and they're actually gonna catch up past both Ryulu, and Ryulu doesn't get the checkpoint. Does he? I don't know if he got it. He's 7th. Wait, no. Ryulu didn't get the checkpoint, and oh my god, he has to go back for it now, and that's disastrous. That's disastrous. Matt is going to catch up to him, and he's actually going to get Will he get 30? Oh, he's gonna get 14th place here. And that is how quickly it can turn to disaster in the ending. He didn't touch the checkpoint, and I completely missed what happened in the front, but it looks like Revolution took the victory. Scrappy took second, Carl took third, Pappu fourth, Aurel fifth, and Euler got passed by everyone. He actually went full on out for the points there, and one no drift can be all that she wrote for that one. Unlucky for him, but that's how it is sometimes. So yeah, guys, we're gonna go into the third map now. This is Piece of Cup by Deska. Enjoy the preview. Alright, we are just about to get into it, guys. This map is going to be exciting. I do believe we have the wrong map on the server now. No, wait, this is Piece of Cup. Alright, so we are going to get into it. And yeah, guys, the identity here is, of course, the infamous Dirt Hills. Over here, you have this crater of dirt hills that you have to smoothly cross over. And there is a set line that all the players will take here, where you go over the first hill, over the second one, and jump diagonally now across the hills towards the checkpoint. However, if you get an unfortunate landing here and lose your speed, you could lose a lot of positions in just one landing. So before this round starts, or it starts right now, but before we have a look at it, let's have a look at the scoreboard. So we have Carl in first, Revo in second, Pappu in third, Scrappy fourth, Spam fifth, and so on. And we find our own and dear Ryulu actually in 11th place so far. So let's hope to see him here. He's been good on practice on this one from what I've seen, and let's see how he performs actually. So he's in 11th right now, but it's a very close race. Nothing is given yet. The track starts out with this dirt part here now, and then we go into this tech section. So you have to slide a bit here. There's a very tight corner coming up here that all of these players should have under control, but it can be challenging. So now we have just a couple of turns remaining before the identity, and let's see who can handle it best in the first lap. So coming up here, so you have to line yourself up, get over the first dirt hill, jump on the second one to the right. Oh, Ryulu gets a bit of a shaky landing there. Now onto the last one and up to the checkpoint. Carl Jr. with the best start out of all the players right now, seamlessly passing through, and Tween in second, Pappu third, Masa fourth, and Ryulu in 11th. So that was a 1:18 first lap. The lap times to look out for here, guys, is going to be like 1:16 flat or so. For a flying lap, is a very good lap time, so that's something to keep track of. And here we can see the dirt turn again. Ryulu is a very good dirt player. It's one of his best styles within the stadium environment. So you can see he's catching Bren here. I think he's going to be able to use that to his advantage on this track, as it's one of the ones with the most dirt in it. Together now with Revolution, though, a bit behind the pack, 1.5 seconds. And it's nothing major yet, but I don't expect there will be a lot of mistakes on this track, as it's very forgiving to players at this skill level. Second round now, through the identity, we have Ryulu in 10th place. What is going to be after the identity? Oh, it might be worse, because what is Kappa doing? Kappa completely missed the line, and oh, he's going to drop down way behind now. Perhaps even getting caught up to by Matt. No, not quite, because Matt failed it as well. But one mistake like that, and you are sadly out of the race on this one. So we can see there, Spam with the best lap time, 1:16.03. Great lap from him coming out. And now we are on to the third one. So Euler not with the best section there on the identity. It could have been way worse. It could have been much worse, as we saw for Couples case, but it should be a bit smoother than that this time. Let's hope, at least. Is there any close battles going on? There seems to be a quite clear gap for first now. Carl has managed to build himself almost a second up top, but there are 4 or 5 players chasing him here. Pappu, Coco, Spam and Massa are all laying in wait for a mistake from the Canadian player, but will he make one? That seems to be his trademark. Carl, not a player to make many mistakes. Even on technical sections like this, he is able to keep his cool, and he will be able to do so this time around as well. All of the top 5 seems to have gotten it quite good. Now, where is Euler? Oh, he's just exiting it. Seems to have had it not that great. It's actually 4 seconds behind now. And this might not be the track for him. It's very hard to gain these 4 seconds back now. So perhaps you can hope for a couple of positions. You can see Coco is actually just ahead of him. Has made a mistake. Bren could be within reach for Euler here as well, if he gets a great second half of the race now. Catches up to Coco, and with a great dirt corner here, he should be able to overtake him. Goes for the line with the most speed on the exit, but Coco actually gets it much superior and inches a bit ahead of Euler now. Let's actually have a look at Tween, a player I haven't spec'd too much yet. He's playing for Pittsburgh Knights, the American organizations, one of the 2 American organizations joining the Trackmania League this year, and he's doing okay for himself so far. At least in this race. Hasn't been doing too well on the previous tracks, but he's picking up the pace now, and finds himself in 6th place right now, tied with Bren. Euler, though, has been able to gain a bit of time, and this might be a good lap from Euler. He's gained 0.4 actually on the best laps, so a 1:16.41 there, pretty good for Euler. And let's now see what he's able to do next. Matt, though, 19 seconds behind. He has made a pretty bad mistake. And guys, this is the last track that you are able to make any mistakes on. Pretty much, if you make a mistake on the next tracks, you will lose all of your points. So if we take Revolution's case right now, he has 25 points. If he was to place 11th on the next map, he would lose all those 25 points, because only the top 8 get to keep their points. The bottom 8 lose all their points. And so coming up on the next map, we are going to see that come out, that you really gotta drive more consistent. You can't afford to make those mistakes, because they cost you those dear points. Let's now see the battle for the map win. We have Carl still in first, has had this 1 second lead all the race, but does get a bad landing there, and it lets Massa and Spam get a bit closer. Spam with a great line on the last one there, and he finds himself only 0.4 of a second behind Carl, 0.3 actually, and he is within reach here of the Canadian player. Can Spam from the Fuse Kids Gaming able to catch this up? He is looking good, but he needs to somehow gain 0.4 of a second on the 3-time world champion, 5-time Serrator Cup champion, and that's no easy task. Has a world championship under his belt himself, but it's starting to become a few years ago, and he would need to mount one comeback here, but it is for 100 euros, so that could happen. Again, the identity, one bad landing could just be what he needs to see from Carl Jr., or he needs to get some time on these coming turns. Let's spec it actually from Pappu's perspective, because he might be in the fight as well. Only 1 second to go for him, and the pace in this race has been insane. We've seen players get low 740s in practice, but this seems to be almost faster than that. No mistakes from the top 3 players, and here we go with the identity. Let's see who takes it. Pappu with a bad landing, might be out of the fight. Carl with a terrible landing, and Spam actually gets super close. If he gets a good landing here, he could catch up. It's very close, but I think it's going to be Carl Jr. with slightly more speed who takes the race. Spam now in second, very close, but not enough, and Carl will win this race. Spam in second, Pappu in third, Massa fourth, Pack fifth, Tween sixth, and Euler finds himself in ninth place here as the other players come rolling in. Super close race there. The final time was a 7:40, which is ridiculous for an actual match like this. They are then averaging a lap of about low 1:16, which is honestly crazy for a format like this. So the level is insane, guys, and Carl will extend his lead now on the scoreboard with those 20 points and the best lap time. But now we get into the mix, because now if you place bottom 8, you lose all your points. Let's see the next map. This is Bolide Snake by Nadio. Alright guys, 5 seconds left to go. This is the map we're getting into. And this one is made by the developers of the game themselves. The one we're looking at right now. This is Bolide Snake, or however you say it. And the identity in question here is, of course, this snake part that you have to make your way through. And yeah. Now you can see the scoreboard has changed colors. There's a green part and a red part. If you are in the green, you keep your points. If you are in the red, you won't keep your points. At the end of the race, if you're in the red positions, you lose all of your current points. So this is when the Monka S comes out in chat, guys, because here you could potentially lose everything if you fall off the dirt track, and Ryulu almost falls off, but he clutches it out, gets the bug slide, and continues driving. And that was a very clutch moment, because he almost made sure himself of losing all his points there, but stays alive. He's still in the field, finds himself a bit behind, but that's better than being out of the track. So let's now have a look at the remaining parts of the track. He is coming up to the snake part, where there are two strategies. You can either slide or not slide, and sliding is a bit harder than not sliding, as I saw Pappu has left the game. I wonder what happened to him. He was first place but got a DNF. Not quite sure what happened here, guys. I'm awaiting further information, but Pappu seems to be out of the race. There's not much to be done at this point, so Pappu there losing 34 points, and that is quite a way to go down to the bottom. Unlucky for him, I don't know what happened, but the race goes on, and we have Tween now up to first, Kappa in second, and these are players that haven't yet really stepped up, but now it looks good for them. Tween and Kappa both doing great here, got good bug slides look like, and they will be pushing now for some points. All the way back we find Aurel now, Aurel and Massa only 1 second, so nothing detrimental, but they have a lot of points in their pocket, and that's not something you want to lose, so you gotta be careful now. Any mistake becomes way worse, and Pappu is rejoining now, but it's all but too late for Pappu, and he's just gonna have to take the remaining time of this map to really refocus and get ready for the next track. Unfortunate for him, but such is the circumstances. You can see Bren now, though, has made his way up to first, and it's a very close race here, actually, between the top 7 or 8 players. So we have a battle now. Quite close battle. It's Carl, Spam, and Scrappy at the edge of the field for the 8th place, together with Revolution and Pack and Coco. And Euler actually in 11th place now. He does go for the bug slide, but it seems to not have paid off here because he falls down to 13th. And the difference here on the timer is how much he needs to gain to get up to the green. So he needs to get a second almost to be in the points, basically. To not lose his points, he has to gain a second now in the remaining 2 laps. And that can be a challenge against players of this caliber. So will Euler be able to combat this? He feared he might lose his points here, but needs to push here now. He's going for the slides, which he said he probably wouldn't do, but now he's going for the no slides on the last part. Which is understandable. A few touches coming out. Revel touching, and he actually drops down a bit, but it's very, very close there. 2 laps to go now. 3 actually, or is it 2? I believe the laps counter is actually stuck at 4 out of 6. No, sorry, it is 3 laps to go, my bad. I was looking at the wrong one. Professional caster, by the way. You can see Matto dropping down, and the race continues. Euler going for the bug slide here, will be able to get a good one. Potentially gain some time here. Spam and Massa are going for it as well. Massa with a weird looking line, but he gets a lot of speed out of it. But the people who don't do the bug slide have more exit speed, and we see Aurel and Revo catching back up. And now the battle tightens for that 8th or 9th place. You do not want to be in Massa's position right now. It's sort of the knife in the chest to get 9th place here and almost get points but lose all of them. So 9th place is sort of the sour position, and he's gonna try to catch up to not be that guy in the 9th place. Almost catching up to Coco now, but Aurel is almost catching up to him, and there's no saying who's gonna take this one. What we can see though is that Matt in 14th, 1.5 seconds behind 9th place, is looking a bit dead in the water maybe. Same for Roland, maybe the same for Euler now, who has to gain a second actually to get back up to the points. Spam though, touching the wall, and he's gonna get 1 position at least, but that's no good for Spam because Spam has 35 points in his pocket, and that is gonna hurt if he can't be able to catch this back up. He is now in 13th place, and this is gonna be rough. We need to see some miracle happen for these players who are this far back now. But let's also take an eye at the top battle, because there is 100 euros on the table for these players in the first positions. The battle mainly seems to be between Tween, Kappa, Bren, and Scrappy for those $100 and a lot of points. We're talking 20 points for first, 14 for second, 12 for third, and if you are able to get those and then keep them throughout the next maps, you are looking very good. So Scrappy now in first by almost half a second, entering the last lap of Bull-Eyed Snake. But will he be able to keep this now? He is a very risky player, and can sometimes push a bit too much, and it can turn out in a disaster. But he might recognize his position here. He has over 4 seconds down to the feared 8th place, and he should be able to defend this now. 1 more bug slide to go for him, but oh, it almost turns out a disaster. He doesn't get the grip he needs, but the back wall saves him there, and he does make it through. Kappa and Tween are catching a bit up. Tween doesn't have the speed here, I think. He got a very bad landing. It likes to go for it anyways, and Tween crashes, and this might not be good for Tween as he gets passed by all the players, and he drops down to 10th place. We find Euler in 9th now, and Spam is in 8th, but this is the battle that we're looking at, because who will be in the dreaded 8th position? And it's a battle neck and neck between Spam and Euler as they enter the last snake section. Which one of the 2 streamers, the 2 players, they've been practicing side by side now, who is going to take it? Euler with with a bit of a bad line. He does touch, but he makes it out alive. He does have to catch up more to Spam though, but Spam touches the wall, and Roland joins the battle. And who is it gonna be here? In the feared 9th position is gonna be Spam! No, it's actually Ryulu. Ryulu and Spam lose all their points. Roland is the 8th position. And wow, what a race. Roland gets the 8th place. Roland... Roland does snipe it in the end. Both Ryulu and Spam lose all their points. Wow. Wow, and Scrappy takes the map win there with a 7:10, which is a really good lap time. What a race. Roland with the comeback at the end. Tween though, he had it in his pocket. He went for the risky jump and he lost it all. 17 points down the drain for him. And Pappu, sadly, with his disconnect, he was disconnected while he was in first place and he lost 34 points. Now he has to mentally reset and get ready for the next one, which is going to be Rock or Roll, made by none other than Table. Enjoy this one, guys. So yeah, guys, we are live on Rock or Roll, one of the most dreaded maps in this map pack because of that staircase you maybe saw in the preview. This one can crush many dreams. It can make people lose many points because if you fall off the edge here or if your car flips, that might just be enough to put you down in the bottom 8. Dramatic scenes though in the last round. We saw Ryulu and Spam lose all their points. They're now in 9th and 10th place. Meanwhile, Roland, who was able to keep his points, has managed to get up to 20. Carl still surviving all the way through with 64. Scrappy in second with 47 and Revo with 40. But let's now have a look at the map. It has this dangerous quarter pipe to quarter pipe jump, which can be tricky to make. Looks like all players are going to be fine here. We'll see at the next checkpoint if everyone made it, and it does look like a very close race actually. All players within 0.5 of a second. Euler finds himself in first place actually, together with Revo, and nothing is said yet. Coco with a small mistake there has lost a second. I don't know where that came from, but well, let's have a look at the field here now, because this section coming up, guys, anything can happen. If you are cheering for a player here, I want you to get out your prayers because they need them right now in the staircase. Let's see who survives. Massa falling off the edge, has to respawn. Scrappy has to respawn. Matt has to respawn, and Tween. It looks like there were 4 victims to the staircase this time around. Tween failing again, and disaster strikes for Tween here, because if you fail twice here, your race is pretty much over. Not that he had that many points to lose here, but he finds himself over 16 seconds behind the 9th place, and that is disastrous for him. So just goes to show how brutal that can be, and they have to do this 6 times over, guys. This is mental. To survive that staircase 6 times, I couldn't do myself, and I don't wish it on any of these players that they have to drive it, but that is the competition. So who is going to be able to get it this second time around? We can see it's a pretty close fight here. Many players within 1 second. Then we find a 7-second gap now to the bottom 10. There's over 6 players who's made a 7-second mistake. So at this point, you might be thinking that they could save it, but there is really no safe strat for this staircase. And who is going to survive this time? And all of the top 9 are actually fine here. So Bren now is in that very sour 9th position because there are only 9 players in the very top that has made it cleanly so far. I think Spam had to respawn twice here, and Spam, oh no, he is very far behind, has to fall out again, and oh, this race is over for Spam. It might just be over for Coco as well already because they are very far behind here. We're talking 20 plus seconds. Same for Massa and Scrappy now, who both have collectively over 70 points to lose on this track, and this is looking rough. They would have to hope for a mistake from the top players, and we see Bren has actually made a mistake, and Scrappy is closing in a bit now, at least to Bren, but Bren is still far behind Aurel, so the top 8 is looking pretty defined right now, but there's 4 times left to go through the staircase. Let's now have a look at the battle for first. We see Revel, we see Pappu, and we see Pack. But everything can be decided right here, ladies and gentlemen. Revel is gonna make it. Is everyone gonna make it this time? It does look like it. Same goes for Bren. Now Scrappy. Scrappy makes it. Muscle makes it. Nat will make it. And there's a huge gap down to the last players. I don't think we need to worry about that battle. But has Pack made a mistake here? Because he gets passed by both Scrappy and Bren. Looks like he may be crashed. And Pack now up down to 10th. And Scrappy is chasing. He wants to keep these 47 points. He doesn't want to lose them. In just one map and one mistake in the first lap, that could be all that was left for him to say on this one. But he is trying now to make the comeback. He needs 2-3 more seconds to get up to the 8th position. It's looking good for our gentleman Euler though. He is in 4th place, only 2 seconds behind Pappu, but that is more than enough in this situation. He was hoping to get some points here, and this is looking good for him if he gets past the staircase. Here we go again, guys. Get your blessings out for your player. Let's see how they do in the staircase. Oh, it's looking good for Euler, who is going to be able to catch Carl here. Had a bit of a slow landing, and maybe he will get passed by many players. Aurel with a great landing there. Many players caught up with that speed. And has anything changed here? It looks like the top 8 is the same. Scrappy, though, finds himself 3 seconds behind yet again. And this might just be the situation we're going to have for the remainder of the race. So it might just be a battle between who of these players are gonna get the most points, because all of them look very consistent on getting past the rock roll part, the identity of this track. And you never know though, because the pressure that happens on the last lap can be detrimental to some players. Aurel has made a slight mistake here and gets passed by Kappa, gets passed by Carl as well, who he had caught up to with the speed on the entry to the lap. But let's now see as we enter the staircase one more time. Pappu going back to 1st place now after his disconnect. Has been able to recover really nicely, showing up great. He has been able to mentally reset and is showing that he could perform, he can compete here, and if he wins this, he will take 20 points and 100 euros for his efforts. Has the lead by over 2 seconds now, and all that remains is getting through the last staircase cleanly, and that is what he's gonna need to get it. Revo in 2nd now, Ryulu and Carl in 4th, close behind. Is anyone going to unnecessarily risk it here on the quarter pipe jumps? Because there is a big point gap between 2nd and 4th place. We're talking 6-7 points that the players could risk to get. We see Scrappy has actually made up to 8th place. Kappa has made a mistake, and this is going to be the battle we're going to have to take a look at, because here it can be decided. Scrappy has 47 points, Kappa has 32, and whichever one of these players doesn't get the 8th position is going to lose all their points. So this is where we're going to keep our eyes, ladies and gentlemen. It is less than 0.3 separating these two players, and that might just be what the staircase is going to decide here. Who of these players is going to take it? We see Pappu, he's going to make it, he's going to take the map win, but who of these players is now gonna get their points? Oh, Kappa might have a bit of a worse landing. It is going to be Scrappy, and Kappa 9th place by less than half a second, losing 32 points. Massa losing 30 points here. Coco losing 21 points. And wow, that is a tough round to swallow for these two. with one map left to go. That's going to be rough. That is going to be rough. We look at the scoreboard now. Let's see how the standings look as we enter the last map. The same principle applies. If you're bottom 9, then you will lose your points even on the last map. And entering the last map, we see Carl Jr. has 78 points. I think we have Revo now in second with 52. Then we have Scrappy with... Oh, we have Scrappy in second with 53 actually. But still, it's a very close race and anything could happen on the last map, which is going to be Brightside, made by... This, ladies and gentlemen, is gonna be a banger. This track is very risk-reward heavy. You will see a lot of players push now, especially with the added pressure of the last track, and anything could really happen here. Our player that we're following in Euler, he has been very good on this in practice, and we're hoping to see that he can be able to keep his points now and get into the top 8. We've seen Carl Jr. play fantastic without any mistakes throughout the match. Finds himself with 78 points, and will he be able to keep all of them, or will he either lose all of them here now on the last track? It takes one mistake, guys, and suddenly all that you've worked for across these 5 maps will be for nothing, because you will be in the bottom positions. We see Aurel actually joining late. What happened to Aurel? He has a DNF, but he keeps driving now. He finds himself very far behind though, I think. Yeah, Aurel at the start. Oh man, that is rough for Aurel. Don't know what happened to him there, but seems to be some issues for many players today. Anyways, let's look at the race, because we still have 14 players in the mix now. And as we're coming up now, we go up the dirt hill, we go around the turn here, and the identity of this map, Brightside, is coming up, where you have the ledges. The infamous ledges, and there are 2 ways the players can take the ledges. They can either elect to go left side, or right side, and then left side. You'll see a mix here. We're specking Carl Jr., who's known to go for the double left side. It's the riskier way. Oh, he does go for the right side actually. So we go right side, then left side. See, Pappu and Tween went both left side, and they did lose a bit of speed. It's a riskier method. Bren actually went double right side and gets the lap lead, so interesting strats coming out. Scrappy has made a huge mistake. I think he failed the identity. He is plus... Oh, this is a lot. He's behind Aurel. He's 17 seconds behind, and this is actually disaster. He was second place going into this map, and now he's about to lose 50 points. Oh no, this is disaster for Scrappy. Wow, okay, let's have a look at Spam here now. On the tail end of the field, he is in 11th position, and it's still early days, but I'm sure you're feeling the nerves in the last map here now. If you see your position is below 8, if it's red, then you're starting to maybe feel a little bit, because you don't want to lose your points now. You want to keep them, you want to get that position secured, and you want to get those points on the scoreboard. Here we go though, into the second time on the identity. We see Massa going for the double left side. Will he make it? Oh, he clips a bit. He's gonna get past here now because other players have more speed, including our hometown player Euler for Nordavind Esports. Finds himself in 5th place right now, behind Spam, Carl, Pappu, and Pack. Has there been any more mistakes? We see Matt actually 13th place, 3 seconds behind. Not looking that good for him. The biggest fish who is out of the water right now is a Revolution in 11th position with 52 points hanging in the air now. As we see Bren has somehow touched. I think he touched the wall or released, and this is a bad place to have low speed because you are gonna drip time all the way up until this corner, and he has lost 1.5 seconds. And he has 36 points hanging in the air, so oh, a lot can happen here, guys. I feel nervous on behalf of the players because I know what's going through their mind right now. You do not want to lose at this point, so close to the finish line. With only 3 laps to go, you don't want to lose. And there will always be some losers though. Some players will have to get those bottom positions, but who is it gonna be? Everyone is trying to make sure that it won't be their name on the bottom of the scoreboard. And Revolution now is actually gonna catch up to Euler, and they're neck and neck for 8th place as we enter the 4th lap. 3 laps to go. Who is it gonna be? Pack still with the map lead, still chasing now for his 20 points. Could climb very far actually with those, and he will gladly take the 100 euros as well if he's able to clutch out the end here now. But Revolution still 10th, Bren still 11th, and I think these are the players to look out for. Euler, he's hanging on by a thread. He's 8th place, and he needs to hold on for just a bit longer now. Spam has made a huge mistake. He hit the inside of the turn, and will Kappa be able to capitalize? He's coming closer, and Kappa might be able to get himself out of that rough 9th position now, together with Revolution actually, because that is a mistake that you don't want to make. And oh, they're getting closer. They are approaching, and it tightens up, guys. This is going to be intense in the last 2 laps. In the last 3 times over the identity now. Revel with a very low jump catches up to Kappa. Will he risk it across the identity to get closer to Spam? Will anyone clip the turn? Euler has clipped the turn, guys, and he is now in 9th place. This is not looking that good. 10th place. He has a second to make up now, just about, to Revolution. If he wants to keep these points, if he wants to get into the top 8, this is what he's going to have to do. And will he be able to, with only 2 laps to go, as they go into the wall ride? This corner can be sketchy. Will any players fail it? It can be very tricky to get past that corner, but Euler manages with all his speed intact as they go over the tube now, into the loop. Oh, this is intense. Revo seems to have a lower speed. Euler has been able to catch up a bit, but that's only going to get him to 9th. If he does, he still needs to get 1 more position here. And Kappa has made a mistake on the outside of the dirt corner, has less speed, and Euler will gladly take that position and jump up to 9th place now. And he needs to get 1 more spot here to secure himself in the first step of the Trackmania Grand League. We have less than 1.5 minutes left of driving, guys, before this will all be decided. And Euler with a very short jump, he does make it though. And now we're going into the last lap, guys. Who is it gonna be? We have Pack still in first by half a second. We have Pappu, Tween, Massa, Carl, Roland, Spam, and Revo in the top 8. Euler is chasing. He wants to be one of them. He wants to be part of the cool club, the people who are gonna be at the top of the scoreboard. And he might just be able to do it if he drives insanely fast in this last lap. He has 4,700 to gain. He's chasing. He gets more boost than Revel, which might be what he needs. Better line through the turnover, and he's made it down to 4,000 now. He has more speed here. He should be able to catch 0.30. He has more speed, guys. He's catching. It's getting closer, and he is chasing 2,300s, 20 and this is going to be very close. As we're entering the last part, Euler is a dirt player. Will he push the last corner? He is now up to 8th place, dead equal with Revo, who touches the outside turn, and Revo is out. But will Kappa be able to catch up to Euler now? Kappa only 0.2 behind Euler again. This is so close. Who is it gonna be? Euler has more to lose, but Kappa has everything to gain here. He has 5 points. He will get 5 points regardless if he doesn't make it. He goes for a very low jump, and he might be able to catch up to the Euler. They are neck and neck across the final identity here. Kappa pushes. Kappa gets a better line, it looks like, and it will be Kappa. Euler loses his points. Or does he? Did someone make a mistake? Someone made a mistake. They actually both keep their points. Caster is mistaken here. And there wasn't that much of a drama. It was actually Revo who did lose everything. Who fell down at the very end? I didn't actually spot it myself. But Euler is safe, actually. Roland died. Oh no. It was Roland. Roland died at the very end. Clutching it out for Euler there. His saving grace, actually. He was dead in the water, but he will make it through there with... by a hair, guys. He makes it through, and the final standings will look the following. So we have Pack actually taking the map win there. 20 points and 100 euros. Revel losing 50 points in the last map. Scrappy as well losing 50. And Roland losing 27. Brown losing 36. Big losses there on the last one. I think Kappa and Spam are certainly going to be happy about that. NASA as well, and Tween, who were all very low on points, but one good performance on the last track will secure them in the top 8. And the final standings will look like this now. We have Carl with 87 points ahead of Pappu with 32, who came back from that disconnect and got second place in the first step. Very impressive from Pappu. Pack in third, Ryulu in fourth, just barely. Tween in 5th, Spam in 6th, Massa in 7th, and Kappa in 8th. And then we have the people who didn't make the top 8. We have Revo, Coco, Roland, Matt, Aurel, Scrappy, Bren, and I think that was them. I think I said one. Oh, of course, Marcin. Marcin, who didn't play the step, sadly, had some connection issues. He will hopefully participate the next time. Let's jump into the other scene here, guys. What a match we had on our hands in the first step of the TrackMania Grand League.